Well, good morning. I'm on my lunch at the first day of the SQL Server training conference. I went to breakfast this morning and heard a good report from one of the keynote speakers. And then I came back to do this, and I'm going back this afternoon. I'm going to try this week not to get behind and to maybe catch up a little bit. So we're talking about in chapter 10, and I have added, you can see all of the all of the websites that I opened doing this chapter 10. So there's lots of information here, and I did add these to the PowerPoint as I was going through it this morning. So the learning objectives in this chapter, and it really does. You've told me it kind of gets boring, and it really does. This chapter tries to show you how to do a security plan that involves what we've covered, like the risk management and cost benefit analysis in chapters 5 and 6, and then how to do it systematically so that you don't overwhelm people. The scenario at the beginning of this chapter talks about how this guy put a plan into place that was very vigorous, and then he subjected the people to Project Tidius. And I've done that with classes before. I have overwhelmed them, maybe. And what happens in a computer class, all the computer classes that I teach, is their skill levels and the aptitude levels, the willingness to learn new things levels are really different. So I try not to leave the new user, new learner behind. And that's not putting off on you if you are, because we all started new. And then try to not bore the most apt, the most skilled students. And that's really a fine line to walk. But anyway, this this chapter shows you how to do a security plan in a project management kind of way. Project managers make a lot of money, and honestly, there's not a whole lot of degrees that are in project management. My experience has been that you start out at a lower job description, and then you move on up to project management. You guys probably going to get mad at me because you've seen me do this over and over if you've been in my classes. But this organization is the company that my daughter works for. She started working as an intern when she was working on her master's degree at UAB. They write software. Now, she's not a software developer, but she's over the software developer. She's a project manager, and she's been there now almost 10 years. And so now she's over all of the project managers, and they've been very good to her. It's a great company. They offer great benefits, and anyway, great salaries as well. There's a difference between project manager management and product management. A project management includes the products. It's a long plan, and this chapter is about how a company's information systems uh, goals, their blueprint becomes the plan with milestones and procedures for the people that are going to be putting this into place. They may have to be trained, hardware, putting that into place, software, of course, and then data. So we're going to take a look at that in this chapter. Um, the role of the project manager in the information security project, and sometimes they really are complex. The technical strategies, and like I said, I did a lot of website looking when I was doing this. The non-technical problems that can happen in times of rapid change. And what I really see now is that companies are doing a rapid change, trying to get security systems in place They really are. Maybe it wasn't down on paper. Maybe they had some kind of security, but not a whole lot. So the implementation phase of that life cycle, changing the configuration and the operations. And that's what I was just saying, that it includes changes to those five things that we know are included in a security plan. I did look at this um, company, Security Org. Lots of things there, and I hope you'll take the time, if you are a cybersecurity major, to look some of these up. You're going to get a lot of information on these sites. Um, I could just spend all day on this one site. I promise you there's lots of stuff there. Most people don't like Windows 10, so I wanted to look at that as well. Oh, okay. So the leadership, the managerial, technical, the money, and then resistance to change. There is always a resistance to change. It's just that people have to buy in. They have to see the benefit and how it's going to affect them, and they usually want it to have minimal effect on them, right? And then what the long time results are. So each organization has to sit down and plan this out. And honestly, the government is an organization that does all the planning. They're slow, though. There's so many people to be involved. And if you've ever worked with the government in any way, you know that. So look at planning the project. Um, I look. There's the URL for the breakdown structure, and that's what it looks like there. And it's just giving you an idea of what actually is involved, why use it, what the benefits are. Good site there, breakdown structure, so that you can look at the task that's to be accomplished, who's going to do it, when it's going to begin, and when it's going to end. Now, there's all kind of software packages out there that help you set goals, and Excel is one of them. It has a thing called GoalSeek. There are certifications in just that, in project planning. Um, I did ask my daughter what they use. I figured they used a SS or APSS, one of those, and she said they use Excel. And in the we used to teach an advanced microcomputer applications class, and we did goal seeking in that class. It's built into Excel. Okay, how much work is going to be involved? The money again. What this is really important. Uh, the life cycle. Is there things, and that's called a linear programming look. If you've ever taken business classes that talk about linear programming, it's not really computer programming as we know it. It's called linear programming. What has to be done before other things can be done? And that's very important to do you know it's much easier to accomplish something if those tasks are divided into small attainable goals that work toward the major overall goal. um, so subtask and the things you see that it has a start and the end date, what resources and what people, right? What people, purchasing, network architect, are going to be involved, and then what is dependent on the other, what's the estimated cost, all of those kinds of things. Adding detail is not always straightforward, and that's what he did in this scenario. He just did and too many things too quickly, uh, and it overwhelmed the people that were going to have to do the work. Financial, and generally this is a deal breaker in most organizations. If it's not financially feasible, then they just scrap the whole thing. But finances has to be brought into the picture, and how how the money is budgeted. And there again, it has to have a cost benefit analysis like we learned in chapter 5 for people in the organization to be able to see that. So generally, if if a company uh, has it budgeted, I work for the government, and this part it's on page 513. I saw that a lot. If if you didn't spend all your money that was budgeted in one fiscal year, then you got that amount of money taken away for the next year. So they just started spending it to make sure they spent it all because they didn't want to lose anything that they had in their budget. And sometimes, yeah, it was wasteful, but that's just the way it was. That's the way it is. Time and scheduling, there again, this has to be reevaluated. Honestly, if it's a long life cycle, at different phases, you have to reevaluate the time. Sometimes you have to reevaluate the cost and the people that's putting that into place too. So you have to be able to order and get it installed, to train everybody, all of those kinds of things. Staffing, procurement. I was a purchasing agent. I bought parts on the space shuttle and I bought missiles for the Army Missile Command. There is very few college courses that prepare you for purchasing. My master's degree actually is in contract management, and it has regular kind of business classes, management information systems and all that kind of thing. But the core of it was government procurement, the financial end of it, the legal aspects of it, negotiations, all that kind of thing. And it is, in fact, a degree. Um, then let's see. I wanted to make sure uh, changes are transparent to everybody. Sometimes, just like I was just saying, it requires new policies. Um, there is a gap analysis, and I didn't see it on the PowerPoint. It's when you compare the measured results against the expected results, and that's one of the things that you've got to build into this analysis. Is how good was the planning at the beginning, and did you attain what you really wanted to attain? Uh, we in government, if it was a big project, we did something called prototypes, and so that is a build of the finished product, one of the finished product usually, and then you have to consider, is that going to be, you have to do testing on that, and if during that test that prototype is completely destroyed, you want to make sure that it it reached its goal. There's just lots of things that goes into this. Okay, training, executing the plan, the scope, um, the project features, the capabilities, um, large information systems in stages. And that's the way all project management is actually, is it is in stages, you know, um, all through the life cycle. Um, there is, on that same page, 515, there is, and I may be getting ahead of the PowerPoint, but I was looking through trying to make notes on the margins as I went through my book. The gap analysis is also called negative feedback loop or cybernetic loop that ensures the process is measured periodically. If there's a big deviation, then you got to do some evaluation and maybe make some corrections as you go through. The need for project management, and I did put that there. That is a Chief Information Security Officer, and if you'll look that up on the EC Council, you'll see that more, and especially in large organizations, you're going to see people certified in that. Okay, the need for it, executing it. Now I wanted to get right here. I added this text box here. This is to me a flow chart. That's what we use in programming. Start at the beginning, and it's a visual of the program itself. And then right here is an if statement. Is the current situation the same as what was desired? And that's called a Boolean statement in programming. It's either true or false or yes or no. So you evaluate it in the no and maybe start again. If it's yes, then you do a monitoring. So we work with that all the time in programming. If you haven't taken C++, you want to take it. You have to take it in the CST degree, but it's really interesting how programming works. And even though you're not going to be a programmer, it's good to understand how it works. It's one part of that big puzzle called the network. Now, let's see. If if the estimate or the performance is not correct, then you got to relook at your plan. The wrap up, collect documentation. Did it achieve its goals? Was it over its budget? Was it over its time constraints? Were new people had to be hired, or did you have the skills that you thought you needed going into it? All of those kinds of things. Now here again, I have added links to these places. The GIAC Certified Project Management. Some of this had actually changed. There is the Security Industry Organization, and that should go right there on the bottom. I do have one slide that has just all kinds of links that I looked up while I was doing this. That's next. Let's see. There's the EO cancel GIAC. We'll get to that in just a minute. There's the security org that we looked at, the benchmark, and then there's your chief information security officer. And you might want to look at it. Kind of looks like Cisco networking, but it's not. It's information security. So you might want to take a look at that as you go through. So these are certifications in security project management. Would an organization have someone that does that all the time, or would they just bring this in as a contract? Maybe, it would depend on the organization. Okay. Now, this is what I was talking about. I have put them all in, all the certifications. I put that in twice. Sorry. Trying to get this done during my lunch break. Okay. And then the National Information Assurance Certification and accreditation process. This is also in this chapter. So it looks at earned value, the leadership and management, the communications, the cost, human resources, integration, the management framework, procurement, quality, risk, scope, the stakeholders, and then project time management. That's over on page 517 in your book. All of those components go into building a good policy for putting a huge security project management in place. Direct changeover is the conversion strategy that stops the old systems and starts the new one without much overlap. And you can see that's very clear. The phased in is that it involves phasing it in, keeping the old and phasing it in. I don't know if there's any statistics out there, but it would be interesting how much these are used. I would think there would be a phase in. to me. Then stop the old system, start one. This one is called cold turkey, and then a pilot is the entire security system is put into place in one department, and that's what that's showing you. And then it's spaced into the other departments as it goes. The bullseye, there are parallel. This is, oh yeah, that's the parallel. Okay. And then the bullseye is you prioritize a program for complex change, requires that issues be addressed from the general to very specific and schematic solutions instead of just individual programs. And that's what it looks like for the bullseye. You've got the policies of the company, their networks, their systems, and then the applications, how it's going to be phased into those applications. That's 520 in your book. And then that's what I just said a few minutes ago, to outsource or not. Are you going to let an organization come in and put this into place for your company, or are you going to do it within? And that's a big management decision. Once, you know, it's kind of like anything that I've gotten lots of students jobs in web development, for example, and the companies will want a website created, and they just think of it as a quick fix. Give me a website up, not realizing that just in a few months that information is going to change and they're going to need it done again. So I always tell students that you do a contract for what you know the requirements are right now, and then if in 6 months if those change, then that's a new contract. So there's a lot involved in that, to outsource or not. How quickly it just said exactly what I was trying to say. Managing that process of change to improve communications, enhance coordination, reduce unintended consequences, and sometimes you don't know what all those might be at the beginning when you're setting that plan up. That it has to be a little bit flexible. Improve quality, and make sure that everybody is complying with the policies that you put out at the beginning. And then there is the non-technical. There are in these SANs, they don't list it, but if you'll look on 523, there is the SANS Institute, the top 20 critical security controls. I don't think I actually looked that one up. Let me just take the minute to do this. I'm trying not to get this PowerPoint to be very, very long, but I think I've got my RAM a little bit full. There it is. The top 20 critical. All right. And I need to put this one in there too. Those, and I'm just going to put it here because I don't know what happened with that. Security controls. Just pretend those are capitals. I just have to have everything. One of my friends calls me controlling. You have to have everything correct. Now that's on page 524 in your book. The inventory of authorized, unauthorized devices, software, secure configurations of hardware and software, continuous vulnerability assessment and remediation, malware defenses, application security. Software security is one of the big ones. I don't teach it. I just teach you how to program. I don't teach you the security part of it. That comes later in your learning. Wireless access, data recovery, I teach that in all my database classes: data recovery, security skills, security configurations of the networks, the firewalls, all the routers, all the switches, limitations of the control of the network ports, the protocols, the services, the controlled use of administrative privileges, boundary defense, maintenance, monitoring, analysis, controlled access based on the need to know, account monitoring, data protection, incident response and management, secure network engineering, penetration test. Now let me go back and see if they list all of those. Another good site, and there's what I just named them, and it does list them there for you. It doesn't put it in the PowerPoint, and I don't know why. I guess they were like me, trying to get it through a little bit quickly. All right, get off. I think my I have tried, I promise you, I have tried to. Nowadays, they really don't want you to copy and paste. They're trying to prevent you from doing that, but it is legitimate in teaching classes. See, it doesn't want me to. Let me go forward, and I'll put it in there before I go further. Okay, so that's the link, and you can look it up as you go. Okay, change. Okay, people don't want to change, so we're talking about unfreezing, hard and fast habits, preparing the organization, the people, the systems, and the procedures, moving, transitioning from one to the other, and then refreezing in this new organizational culture that you've created. Steps to make employers more apt to change, reduce that resistance, developing a culture that supports the change. 3-step process: communicate, educate, and involve. Let's bold that. Okay. There is there it is. The certification and accreditation. Accreditation is what authorizes IT to process, store, and transmit the information. And then the certification is the evaluation of the security controls to support the accreditation. Now we're going through a lot again of the same company that we've seen: the information system security certifications and accreditations. There's the NIST, and what I did was I looked up this for the SP, the iOS 27001 and 27002 is you'll see when you look that up. And then the federal government, the national security information, the non-national security information, intelligent computer. So if you look that up, you'll see that. There you go. There's the organization standard for standardization. There is the information security management. And then I just looked so that you can, if you will Google that, then you see the national security, telecommunications information, and all that. So let me go back. All of this put into place by the government so that organizations can have a policy for certification and accreditations of federal information systems. And this is the tier, the information systems, the mission and business processes, and then the organization itself. So it goes from a strategic risk to a tactical risk. Tier 1 is the risk from the organization perspective. Tier 2 is from a business process perspective. And then Tier 3 from information security perspective. And then here you go with kind of a flow chart again. You're looking at the organizational inputs, the description, the categorized information system is the first step, and then select your security controls, implement those controls, assess them and see if they're doing a good job, authorize them, put them into place, and then monitor them. And it all evolves around risk management that we've already covered. The risk management framework is that uh, SP800-37, that directive that has been put into place. And you can find lots of those, like I have just put in. You categorize the information systems, right? Um, there's your information system. There's the controls. There's your risk management. And then if you have some hybrids, the security plan, the assessment report, the plan of action and milestones, and then your common controls. Security plan, security assessment report, plan of action, and then authorization, decision making as you go through the whole thing again. That's all on. Read page 533. That gives you checkpoints and the implementation points 533, 534 to assess the security controls, and then again checkpoints, and then the final authorization of those. The national security institutions have their own standards, and there I give you a link to take a look at. I did not look up this guy. Do that really quick. I've got so many on this one, I promise. And every chapter in this book is like that. I'm trying to do just a little bit better and putting them in the PowerPoint. Just have been totally rushed this semester, and um, huh. See if we can find that a different place. It's just, I have tried to clean up, and I need to do some more of it. My computer, actually, because I'm afraid my virtual memory is not big enough. I wanted to see that. There's the DOD. Do you see that there? We've seen the CRISP all along. Um, all of those standards that are mentioned in this part, the Instruction 1000, National Information Assurance Certification and Accreditation. I have to have a zillion browsers open. I am taxing my computer. So the National Information Assurance and Accreditation, I usually, there's the PDF for it. Uh, I'm not going to put it in. You can if you want to. I did do the 4 phases here with the security orb. I like the way that site looked. Okay, let's keep going. So you're looking at now a lot of pictorials as you go. Determine phase 1, the definition, determine requirements, define the boundaries, uh, tailor the process and the scope, draft it, then the verification, system development activities, certification, document everything, right? Validation, test the install system, evaluate it, personnel, the physical, the whole thing, document it. Documentation needs to be through the whole thing, and then the post accreditation. Operate the system, does it work, make any changes needed, and then maintain it. So taking a look, the preparation, the registration, the negotiation, the agreement, yes or no, go back to negotiation, and then finally you have the verification at the end. These are all on page 536 and 537 of your book. The system activities, integration of development, the certification, does it pass, do it again if it doesn't, revise and reanalyze it, is it ready for the next phase, and then go to the validation phase. So you can see how the flow charts work. It's always, is it yes or no, and then you're going to start back over. The test and evaluation, penetration testing, all of the evaluations, system management, site evaluations, contingency plans, and then the review as you go through. Post accreditation, um, the systems into place, the validation, keep it validated, change or requested, and then go back again to the phase one if it doesn't do what it should do. Now here's the iOS 27001 and 002, the accreditations, and I did give you a link for that. Look at this a little bit bigger. The company decides to implement it, assign project responsibilities, and you can see all of the tasks, all of the people that are required, all of the tests that are required, and then the certificate will be granted. If anybody's ever worked with ISO, you know, like in companies where you have to do the security, it's really going to involve things. I have seen people pull their hair out because of ISO requirements. And then the summary. Wait a minute. I did there give you some. I've already given you this. I was just going through, and then I wanted to make sure that I did give you all of the sites that I looked up. Okay, that's chapter 10. We've got 2 more to go. Thank you for hanging in there with me. Have a good day.